I'm Dennis Anderson along with Julie Zenner. Here's what's coming up on Almanac North.
Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota has big plans to help end youth homelessness in Duluth. We'll talk about the new Center for Changing Lives.
Duluth Mayor Don Ness still has plenty on his to-do list during his final months in office. The mayor joins us tonight with an update.
And we'll have the latest business headlines and find out what was making news 25 years ago this week.
So stay with us. Almanac North is next. Hello and welcome to Almanac North. Thank you very much for watching. And Julie, the weather has finally taken a turn right towards spring.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Should be a nice weekend, so get out and enjoy it.
All right, we've got some great guests. Let's get going.
All right. Thank you, Denny, and welcome everyone. Most people are shocked to learn that there are an estimated 100 plus homeless youth in Duluth on any given night. Many have left home because of abuse, absent parents, or numerous other reasons, but Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota hopes to make a real difference in youth homelessness when it constructs the Center for Changing Lives in Duluth. Here to tell us about the new center is Jodi Harpstead, the CEO of Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota. And Lynn Gerlach-Collard is the organization's program manager for youth services in Duluth. And welcome. Thanks to both of you for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jodi, why don't we start with you? Talk a little bit about the mission of this building that you're planning for Duluth.
Yes, well, some years ago, our youth staff in Duluth said that if they were able to all come together in one place, because they've been here for many years, but they're scattered all over town, that they thought they could be much more effective in serving the youth in Duluth.
Mm-hmm. So what's your vision for this building?
Mm-hmm. Well, we bring our 30 youth staff together all into one place. We also bring in our Renaissance transitional living service that Lynn runs here in the town. And then we're adding 10 affordable apartments for young people, because when they finish our services, it's hard to find affordable housing at the wages that they can get.
So this is for homeless youth?
Yes.
Okay. And starting at what age?
Lynn, do you want to talk about that?
Well, because we are having several programs in the building, a big chunk of it is based on prevention and preventing homelessness. So depending on the program, we're between the ages of 14 and 21 in the building. Renaissance serves 16 to 20, and other programs serve down to 14.
The statistic in the open that over 100 youth are homeless on any given night, I think might be surprising to a lot of people, because it really seems like it's almost a hidden problem. You don't see these kids on the street. At least I don't, right. But you do. Talk about their story a little bit and what they face.
Absolutely a hidden problem. It is. It was hidden even to me when I first started this position 14 years ago. What they face on the street really basically is they don't have a safety net. They don't have anyone, any adult, safe adult who is there, whose door they can knock on to help them navigate whatever they need to do. So we try to be the safety net. We try to help them learn whatever it is that they need to learn so that they can move forward.
And Julie, we have a videotape which tells the story of one young lady. Let's watch.
Yeah, the reason I came to Renaissance is because my home life was really unhealthy and unstable. In high school, I was picked on a lot, and I definitely kind of kept to myself, and everyone would make fun of me, and they called me Alien Girl because I was really into Star Trek. But with the pressures from home and the pressures of the other kids, you know, I was just really, really alone. A lot. So I just would throw myself into my schoolwork because that was something that I could really focus on. Something, you know, my books didn't judge me. So I decided I didn't want to be in high school anymore. and one of my friends had told me about the post-secondary enrollment option, or commonly referred to as PSEO. And so what I did is I went to Lake Superior College and took their college entrance exam, the same exam that all the other students take when they're trying to get into college. And then I graduated with my associates in art with a 3.97 grade point average, and then a month later graduated from Denfeld with my high school diploma. At Renaissance, I stayed for 7 months, and I actually learned a lot while I was staying here. I also had people who were supportive of my search for college, and I learned how to pay rent on time. And when people look at me now, they're like, Renaissance House, you lived in a homeless shelter? Yeah. It's not like I wanted to be homeless. It's not like I didn't want to be a contributing part of society. You know, people don't choose to be homeless. Nobody would choose that. It's just something you get forced into.
Lynn, is Jasmine's story pretty typical? It sounds like it was very rough for her, but getting hooked up with your program was really life-changing for her.
The typical part of Jasmine's story is that youth really, in most cases, at least the youth that we work with, really don't want to be in the situation they're in. They've been thrust into these positions in a lot of times just from the people in their lives. So that's really the typical part of Jasmine, where she talks about who would choose to be homeless.
Mm-hmm. Jodi, can you tell us a little bit about the private campaign to fund this project?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have all kinds of individual contributors that have already made pledges to our campaign. The local foundations have been very generous, especially the Ordine Foundation, recently making a major contribution to our work over the next 3 years. We've also been talking to the regional foundations out of the Twin Cities who cover the whole state or perhaps 2 states and asking them to invest here in Duluth. And so we're very pleased that we're about halfway through our private campaign.
There's an effort to get some monies through the bonding bill, maybe?
Yes, the governor just named us this week in his proposal for the bonding bill. So there's still a lot of ways to go between now and the end of the session to see if there is a bonding bill and how big it is, but we hope to be in it.
So when would you hope to start construction?
Mm-hmm. We're thinking now that we'd probably break ground early in 2016 and build the building next year and open it before the end of 2016, which just so happens to be the 100th anniversary of LSS services in Duluth.
And there we have a picture of the building. It looks pretty impressive. How involved have local staff been in terms of trying to figure out what's needed in this building and how it would best serve the community?
When this was in the very, very early stages of planning, they pulled all the staff together, the architects and some planners, and asked us to dream big and what would be our ideal, and we started there. And
Lynn, where in Duluth will the building be constructed?
it will be, what is the address of that?
14th and 15th Avenues on Superior Street.
East?
East.
Yes.
East, yeah.
Okay.
Overall, how would you rate Duluth in terms of how it's doing in terms of fighting the problem of youth homelessness? Because you said you've been working within this community, doing this job for quite a number of years now. What are you seeing?
What I see year by year is there's more and more support. More and more people are getting it, are understanding what the problem is. More people are really seeing, even though we don't see the kids who are homeless because they are hidden, like you said, more people are seeing that there really is a problem. And Jodi is statewide, so she could speak to rating Duluth.
Yeah, we have a full array of services here in Duluth between LSS and the Lifehouse, the other major homeless youth
Any
service.
relationship between the two?
Very close working relationship, and of course we're housed today in their building, so we've been working together for many years. There's also a full array of services for youth in St. Paul and Minneapolis, but in most communities in Minnesota there isn't. And so Duluth has done a fabulous job of building up a good set of services and a lot of awareness among the citizens of Duluth and a lot of interest in wanting to help.
What makes you excited as you look forward to this project?
What I see is the integration of everything that we do. It's all going to be in one place, and kids don't have to be going around town to get services. Sometimes from one place to another they can get lost, you know, not really lost, but you know, other things get in the way. So this way they'll be able to walk in the door and get help that they need. We're going to all be in one place.
We're talking about, what, about $10.5 million, 20 units, but it'll be more than just 20 units in terms of what's being done in this building.
Absolutely.
Can you address that maybe?
Sure. Well, all of our youth services will be there, and then we have 20 places for young people to live. But we serve about 600 youth every year in Duluth, so a lot of people just get skills training from us, support group kind of work, counseling, and never come to live with us. Our young people can often find another place to be with a friend or with a relative while we work with them to become independent adults.
Once these rooms are available, how close is Duluth in terms of actually having the space on hand to deal with the homeless youth from a night to night?
Well, between LSS and the Lifehouse, we serve 1,200 homeless youth in Duluth every year, and with 100 to 120 homeless youth any given night in Duluth, we're awfully close to probably coming in contact with all of the homeless youth in Duluth. And so what we're really hoping from this center and the continued work of the Lifehouse is that we'll more effectively serve those homeless youth, help find them sooner, and get more of them on their feet quickly. So I think we're going to be very close to being very effective about serving the youth, as opposed to trying to have more places for them to sleep.
And I imagine you'll be spending a lot of time at the legislature in the
Yes.
next month or so?
Yes, as usual. But that's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us about the project. It sounds like a lot of exciting things are happening in your
Thank you.
organization.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Now, let's dig into our news file archive for a look at what was making news 25 years ago this week.
By midsummer, these barges docked at former elevator Owen Superior will be replaced by this ship, the USS Newport News. The battleship will become the center of a memorial museum.
Things are really happening now. I guess in the last 3-4 years it's been on and off and on and off, but now we've really got some things that are taking place.
Planners of Patriots Park got their biggest boost last week. A donation of $1.5 million was made by a Minnesota man to get the project in gear.
There will be a tremendous boost in tourism in the Twin Ports, and again, Duluth and Superior will both benefit from this. The economic impact studies that have been done show that we can expect between 100 and 125,000 tourists a year.
Currently, the battleship is based in Philadelphia, but papers have been filed with the Pentagon to tug the ship to the Twin Ports. Park planners hope to capture the spirit of America by remembering those who have paid the price to make America what it is. Each branch of the service will be recognized in the park. And if the project fails, it won't cost taxpayers a penny.
If the ship does not pull its own weight economically, we have to remove it, and the taxpayer does not get stuck for it at all. There's no way.
Well, this fall, the city of Duluth is going to elect a new mayor. Now, that leaves less than 10 months in Mayor Don Ness's 8 years in the city's top job. The mayor has enjoyed remarkable popularity while tackling some tough issues for the city, but apparently there's still work to do, as evidenced in the mayor's recent State of the City address. Mayor Don Ness joins us tonight to talk about his priorities during his final months on the job. You've been there, what, 7.5 years? Just a few months left? Must seem a little strange.
It is, and then 8 years on the council before that.
Yeah.
So it's 15 years in city government and being engaged on a day-to-day basis on the issues facing us. So I haven't quite gotten to the point where we're thinking about what life will be like as we transition out, but it's trying to enjoy these last months as much as possible.
If you could categorize your work, what's the number one thing at the very top that you absolutely have to see accomplished by the time you leave office?
Well, it's really our work in the St. Louis River corridor is so exciting, and there's so many different moving pieces, from the environmental cleanup to the outdoor recreation pieces to the economic development opportunities as we breathe new life into these old brownfield and Superfund sites. So it's exciting, it's complicated, and there is a piece of me that wishes I could see it to its completion, but we have such a great team that I feel very confident that they're going to see it to fruition.
Mm-hmm. What made you turn your eyes on that area of the city in terms of really wanting to take that next step toward development?
It was a long-term process. We started with bringing a group of neighborhood leaders together back in 2009, and had about 50 people in the room, and just the number of ideas that were coming forward. And of course, the importance of the environmental cleanup of the river that was taking place and now has accelerated in recent years provided an opportunity to have this community look at that area with fresh eyes and see the amazing natural beauty of the area, the assets that we may have discounted in the past because of the environmental contamination of the river, but now with the cleanup, we can kind of look at it fresh.
Can you name maybe 2 or 3 major projects that will affect the new mayor?
Oh, well, I suppose, there's one of the things that I'm hopeful for the new mayor is that they'll continue our efforts on building the budget reserve and having that budget stability. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in, and I think will be really important for the health of this community. There are issues like the future of the library that will certainly be on the plate of the next mayor, whether it's investing in our current building and making those needed repairs to the HVAC system or the electrical system, or looking at an opportunity to build a different library.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we were talking about the nice weather, and that means road construction season,
yes.
And the city streets continue to be an issue that will be long after you leave office. Do you see any real strong long-term solutions for handling the street repairs that are needed in the city of Duluth?
Well, we've taken some incremental steps by establishing some new revenue sources that will allow us to do enhanced maintenance on an annual basis. That's been important. The discussion taking place right now at the state legislature about the potential of the state being more active in transportation, and those could provide additional dollars to be expended on a local level. But clearly, our community needs to come with a comprehensive solution that will allow us to rebuild some of these roads on an ongoing basis, and we're not there right now. After losing the casino revenue, that was our primary source of revenue, replacing that $6 million is extraordinarily difficult and comes with pain. And yet, I think we, as Duluthians, need to come to the terms, because of our winters and the condition of our streets right now, that we need to make this investment.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the casino profits, and the city just recently lost another one of a federal ruling, and it's been a really long-running controversy. Do you think that it's getting close to the end of being played out, or is there still hope for some sort of an agreement to come together between the city and the band to maybe reinstate some of those?
Well, I'd sure like to think that that a compromise is possible, and that we can have an agreement that works for both communities. And there's essentially 2 different sides of the legal battle. One that was the ruling that you had mentioned was kind of the going forward, and then the other is the monies owed from the first term of the contract. And we've been prevailing on those, and we should be hearing within the next couple of months on whether or not we will prevail on the $12 million that has been owed in the past. So if we prevail there, and then their acknowledgement that the going forward is going to be a different scenario, I hope that we can find a compromise.
The mail processing center, at least for now, is going to remain in Duluth. Your thoughts?
That's so important for our community. Not only the jobs at the center itself, but all those businesses in town that rely on quick mail service. And so I think it's a very hopeful sign that they've committed to having some, and we don't know yet how extensive it'll be, but certainly as long as they maintain some, we can always work to expand those services back to its present time.
The Duluth Charter Commission looking at potential pay increases for the City Council. You were on the council for a lot of years. You know the work that's involved with that position or those positions. Yeah. What do you think? Is it time to maybe reevaluate how much those counselors are paid?
I think so. The counselors, it's a thankless job. They put in many, many hours and really are doing out of service for our community. But as Councilor Gardner had mentioned, we want to make sure that service on the council is not a financial consideration. And I think at this point, it can be very difficult for people who are lower income to take a look at the amount of time and effort that is required and could take away from other jobs that they have for the amount that's paid. So I do support increasing their pay.
Mayor, what do you think about Sunday liquor sales? The governor says he will sign the measure if the legislature passes the bill.
Well, it's an economic development tool for our community. And when you look at these craft brewers that are making their product on site, and especially these growler sales, which will allow our visitors who come up to Duluth on a Friday and then they're leaving town on Sunday, and they'd like to take a growler with them, but right now the law prohibits that. And so this could be a real boost to those entrepreneurs.
Particularly good for Duluth being a border city?
Right. So, my understanding is the growler sale part is one that has the most momentum right now, but clearly also the broader issue of Sunday liquor sales, which is more controversial, but would have an impact on sales tax revenue in the city of Duluth.
Pier 3, Maurice's, and the bus center, 3 major projects now underway in downtown Duluth. Are you hearing any rumblings of anything else that might be coming here in the near future?
Well, we love to see the cranes up on our skyline and a lot of activity, construction activity. The Harbor Bay project on 21st Avenue East, that'll be a $25 million project. Mark Lambert is ready to start his next phase of housing up at the Bluestone. So a lot of activity in the city of Duluth, and we couldn't be more excited about it.
Do you feel a different energy in the business community these days than when you first took office?
Well, considering I took office in 2008, right when the world was imploding, I think it is doing better today.
So we can credit you for everything.
No, I don't take credit for any of that. But, I do think that there is a growing sense of confidence and optimism in Duluth, and that does translate into businesses making investments, hiring more people, and turning that into real tangible investment in our community.
You mentioned housing. Other than condos and apartments, are we seeing very many single-family housing starts?
Yeah, we are seeing a number. The problem with the difficulty with single-family is that it's very difficult to meet that middle-income demand. And so when you're looking at building, unless you build a very small house, it's really in that 250 plus range, and so there are homes that are being built at those price points, but the real challenge for us is to meet that 150 to 250 range.
Not traditionally a bonding year at the legislature, but the governor is proposing to have some bonding this year, with Duluth maybe being the beneficiary of some of his proposed projects. What do you think? Optimistic that this is going to happen with the legislature that we have?
You certainly have to stay on your toes with the legislature, and I think it's, from my perspective, I think it's doubtful that there'll be a bonding bill coming out this year, especially with the position of the Republican leadership in the House. But you have to be prepared that if they do decide in the last minute, and that's oftentimes when these things happen, the last minute there will be a bill, we have to have our projects ready to go.
Is there a project ahead that desperately needs bonding money here in Duluth?
Well, I wouldn't say desperately. There's more long-term planning that we're looking for. One project that I'm really excited about is the conversion of our steam plant to a closed-loop hot water system, and moving to more renewable energy sources. Right now we have a coal-fired steam plant on the shores of Lake Superior. Very inefficient system, dumping very hot water into the river. We can close that loop, make it more efficient, and benefit downtown businesses.
It sounds like you're going to be spending your weekend writing the book.
Yeah, you know, keeping busy on that. I'm really enjoying, because it's a chance to look back at that growth of starting as a 25-year-old kid counselor to today with my gray hair and the experience that we've had, as well as the experience for the city of Duluth and all the changes.
All right, Mayor Don Ness, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good to have you here. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Don. Appreciate it.
Well, let's turn now to the week's top business news from Business North. Wisconsin Indian Head Technical College is launching a new program that prepares students to provide professional gerontology and aging services. It is designed to educate workers for the 78 million baby boomers who will turn 65 by the year 2030. The program will blend online and in-person learning with community-based fieldwork. Graduates can assume roles in community and nonprofit agencies, counseling centers, group homes, hospitals, and senior centers. Students may choose to take one class or complete the entire degree.
Ground was broken this week for two large construction projects. Stakeholders gathered in Grand Rapids Monday to celebrate the $8.1 million Miles Rife Center expansion. The Performing Arts Center will be expanded to meet Americans with Disabilities Act requirements and create more working space for local arts groups. Then on Wednesday, ground was broken for the $32.5 million Hermantown Middle and High School project. The existing high school will be converted to serve as a middle school, and a new high school will be constructed.
At 800,000 tons, Great Lakes shipments of iron ore during March fell to the lowest level since 2010. Heavy ice and the lack of ice-breaking resources on both sides of the border were cited as the reasons. Ice formations have been delaying ships at the eastern end of Lake Superior. Several vessel owners delayed getting underway rather than risk a repeat of last spring when ice caused more than $6 million in damage to vessels. For more on these and other stories, visit businessnorth.com.
Well, our time is nearly up, so call now if you have a comment. Dial 218-788-2849 to leave a message, or send an email to Almanac North at WDSC.org. You can also visit the WDSC website for news and information about the station, updates on our broadcast schedule, or to sign up as a member. And Julie, the Empty Bowl event is coming up.
Yeah, it is, and that's always really exciting to me because I play in pottery,
You
so
You make
it's
bowls.
fun. You can go down there and see if you can find one of my bowls. They're signed Zen. Okay,
Ooh.
so
We'll look for
they're
them.
like little prizes, and of course all the money benefits the Second Harvest Northern Lakes Food Bank. So
Yes, it does. Okay, good. Thank you. For Julie and the crew at Almanac North, I'm Dennis Anderson. Have a great weekend. Good night, everybody, and be kind.